All right, Billy, is it time? Are they still snacking on cookies?
Lots of little offices. No.
Just a picture of the sound box so far as that. Right?
That's a good question. I followed the instructions.
got a Facebook?
Mm.
Good evening. Welcome to the regular session of the Board of Trustees for December 3rd. It is returned from closed session and open session at 6:06. There is no action to be taken in closed session, so I have nothing to report. I would ask Pamela Starlson to lead us in the pledge of allegiance. All right, thank you. We will move on. We have a lot on our plate tonight. We'll move on with, right, presenting ACES Awards.
Good evening. It's my privilege to announce the ACES Awards winners achieving a culture of exceptional service. And I've got 9 people, so when I call your name up, I'm going to group you with how you've won these things. When I call you up, please come up here and we'll give you your award. So, first, these people were nominated by Krista Thompson, Jennifer Borquez, Martha Castro, and Josh Gudil. All right, so this is what Krista said, Krista Thompson. I would like to recognize Jennifer Borquez, Martha Castro, Josh Gudil for their incredible hard work and dedication going above and beyond this summer to help organize district curriculum across the district. For the entire month of July, Martha, Jennifer, and Josh worked 6 hours a day in the warehouse with a massive swamp cooler, dirt, spiders, and other things to unbox, unpack, repack, and build over 80 pallets of books for delivery to sites. They would finish their work at the warehouse and then come back to the office to work on other items, needing the attention until well after the working day ended. And then Jennifer took home and worked from there. Their physical labor, incredible organizational skills, and dedication to getting it done have been essential to making sure our teachers and students are getting the curriculum they need. They are going above and beyond, and this doesn't even come close to expressing how much they appreciate it. She would also like to recognize Bart Hoffman and the rest of CIA for helping move boxes on several days, as well as the facility crews for making this happen. It takes a village. Great job. Super. All right. The next 5 people were nominated by Cindy Queen. Ivan Quesada, Charlie Hobson, Ariana Pericles, Reina Castaneda, and Carla Tovar. Come up. The This is what Mrs. Queen said. Without hesitation, they stepped up at a moment's notice, ensuring connectivity, setting up systems, and manually creating accounts for new teachers. Their tireless work behind the scenes and careful planning that went into the successful two-day new teacher event were instrumental in its success. Their combined efforts truly exemplified what it means to achieve a culture of exceptional service. For these reasons, they deserve the ACES Award. And then this next person was awarded this by George Lopez, the principal at Endeavor. And this is what George said about Javier Villalobos. Gary, come on up. All right, so George said, it is my distinct honor to nominate Javier Villalobos for above and beyond recognition. As we embark on the new school year at Endeavor Middle School, we introduced our new cell phone policy and the Evolve system. Javier played an instrumental role in ensuring a smooth rollout for both systems. On the very first day of school, Javier assisted with Evolve. His presence was reassuring and vital that the system was up and running, but his commitment to our school safety didn't stop there. On the second Friday, the Evolve system encountered technical difficulties, and without hesitation, Javier was back on campus to troubleshoot and fix the issue. His quick response and effective problem solving ensured that our security measures were in place, demonstrating his reliability and dedication. Javier's actions are not just a matter of going above and beyond, they are a true reflection of who he is, dependable, proactive, and assists wherever needed. His consistent support and willingness to step in at a moment's notice make him an invaluable asset to the team. All right, and then, the last one isn't here, but I'll read it anyway. The recipient of this award is Karen Avila. She was nominated by Daisy Aguilar, a parent. This is what Ms. Aguilar said. She showed compassion, problem solving, speedy outcomes, and I would still be pulling out my hair without her help. She solved my problem in one day when others couldn't the entire summer. So good job, Karen.
Thank you, Michael. We will now ask for the enrollment report.
Thank you, Mr. Whitten. I got some bad eyesight here, so I'm doing the best I can. Okay, our enrollments, our K through 8 enrollment as of Friday afternoon, 13,712 students. That's a loss of 32 students from the last board report, a loss of 160 students from the same month last year. We do have 355 ECE students for a total population of 14,067. Of that total population, 774 students are deemed homeless, 297 students are foster.
Thank you very much. Now, we would like to go back to Dr. Freeze for the unaudited actuals for 24-25 budget update.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. At this time, I'd like to introduce our Chief Financial Officer, Maria Alatorre.
Can we make it full screen? Thank you. Good evening, board members, cabinet, superintendent, and public. I'm here to present the 23-24 unaudited actual financial report. Okay, so we'll start with the unrestricted resources. Everything is in millions. Revenues for the 23-24 fiscal year on the LCFF was 188 million, which is our biggest bucket of unrestricted resource. Then we have our state revenue for $7.59 million. And then our local, which represents a negative of $0.086 million. The reason why it's a negative is because we have a fair market value adjustment done at the end of the year per CDE. And that's because of the inflation. And then we have expenditures, salaries and benefits were $127.02 million on the unrestricted. Supplies and services, $28.50 million. Capital outlay, $1.62 million. And other outgo, it's a negative $3.45 million. It's a negative because it's an indirect cost charged to the restricted. So our total expenditures were $153.69 million. We also have other financial sources uses, which is the transfer outs to other funds. It's $3.50 million, and contributions to the special ed, which is $36.67 million. So if you add the revenues and then you subtract the other financial sources and uses, and then you subtract the expenditures, you come up with a surplus of $1.84 million for the year. Can we pass the slide, please? Thank you. The restricted resources is the same as in million dollars. Our revenues were in the federal $27.49 million. As you can see now, our federal revenues are decreasing because now all of the ESSER funds and one-time funds are sunsetting in September 30th this year. Then we have the state revenues for $49.79 million. And as you can see, the state revenues now are going up, up, up. And the reason why is because we have the ELOP revenue, which is state funded, and it's $22 million every year. Also, we have the equity multiplier and other grants. And then we have the local, which encompasses the SELFA, which is special education, $18.92 million. And then our expenditures on the restricted bucket for the salaries and benefits were $85.48 million. Our supplies and services, $34.59 million. Capital outlay, $3.16 million. And other outgo, $3.80 million. So our total expenditures were $127.03 million. Now remember, we have a contribution from the unrestricted to the restricted. So the contribution now is a plus, $36.67 million. So if you add the revenues plus the contribution, and then you subtract the expenditures, you come up with a surplus of $5.86 million. And you can ask, why do we have a surplus if we have to do a contribution? Well, because each resource has its own allowable expenditures. And the resource 6500, which is a special ed, is underfunded. We receive about $15 million in income, and we spend about $45 million. So we have to contribute to that specific resource. Next slide, please. It's not working. There you go. Okay, this is an exciting one. So supplies and services. This is the total supplies and services for the whole district. And I would like to share with you the purchase orders are the legal contract between our district and a vendor. And to create a purchase order, it takes a village, which is all my village, my fiscal department. They start from an expenditure, which is an X-reg. They do make sure that everything complies with allowable expenditures, that everything is following policies and procedures. And so they convert from an X-reg to a purchase order. So we created 22 purchase orders for field trips to Disney Imagination Campus. We spent $275,000, 717. And for those field trips to the Disney Imagination Campus, we have over 250 students plus the ASB managers having well, they said a great experience. And Bart can testify to that if he likes. Then we have 8 purchase orders for the field trips to the zoo, which we liquidated 4,123. Then we have 340 purchase orders for the after-school fun activities. So the ELOP, $8 million, 834, 223.87. Then we have 107 purchase orders for the family and community activities, 558,000, 753.23. Then we have 93 purchase orders for the arts and music. It's 1,516,521.74. Then we have 91 purchase orders for the library books, 407, 320.46, then 340 for routine maintenance. So every time that we have a pipe bursting or we have any troubles or any problems in the grounds, in the facilities, that's when we have to do the routine maintenance, and that's the purchase orders that we create. For that, we created $2 million, 367 to 90.84. Then we have 302 purchase orders for medical and health, with the 2,281,989.69. 100 purchase orders for increased safety and attendance, $8 million, 390,999.88. Then we have 28 purchase orders for addressing learning loss mitigation. We have a grant for that, and it's $1 million, 654,544.16. Then we have 4,732 purchase orders for supplies and services, which equals $18 million, 490 to 10.42. And 526 purchase orders for technology licensing and softwares. That was $4 million, 574, 785.39. So our total restricted and unrestricted services and supplies were $62 million, 959, 39, 380.84. I put some pictures on the top for the Imagination Campus, two sites that they shared with me to the zoo, and I wanted to make sure that we close the gap between what we're doing for our students, for our sites, and for our offices and for our staff with the fiscal. It's not only money, we enjoy seeing all the dollars that we're spending on the right way. Can we pass the next slide, please? Thank you. Okay, so this one has never been presented, and I would like to present it because it's exciting for me. On 2021, okay, the blue cylinder represent the state and local, and the orange is a federal. Those are dollars spent per student. As you can see, on 2021, right when we started with the pandemic, we were spending $12,316 state and local funds per student, and $2,278 for the federal per student. Then the pandemic came, and then we have 13,114 on state and local, and 3,891 federal. Then we came back to school, and it's 12,536 and 3,059. So by that time, we're starting to sunsetting the federal dollars. Now look at this beauty, the state and local. Now we spent last year $18,673 per student on the state and local, when we only received $15,000 on the LCFF per student. So those 3,000 and something are because we have the grants, because we have ELOP, because we have the community grant, and then we are sunsetting the federal dollars, and that's why we only spent $2,884 per student on the federal. So we're going back to the federal, to the normal numbers, but the state, it's projecting to keep the same in the same level, because ELOP, it's an ongoing revenue that we're receiving. Okay, now this is the fund balance. So as of July 1st, 2023, when we began with the year, we started on the unrestricted with a beginning fund balance of $71.69 million. And on the restricted bucket, we started with $84.51 million. So our beginning fund balance for this fiscal year that we're presenting, it was $156.20 million. Then we increased, as I went over with you, on the unrestricted by $1.84 million, remember? And then on the restricted by $5.86 million. So our combined increase was $7.82 million. By June 30th, when we liquidated everything and closed the books, our ending fund balance was on the unrestricted $73.53 million, which is the 71.69 plus the 184. And then we have on the restricted $90.37 million, which is the 84.51 plus the $5.86 million. That left us with an ending fund balance for the fiscal year of 23-24 of $163.9 million. Please keep in mind the restricted has their own allowable expenditures and their own rules, and that's $90 million. We have negotiated some contracts to be multi-year, and we have to prepaid expenditures such as the book adoptions, such as some contracts for IT. So we prepaid $3.8 million, and we have assignments that you previously approved for $25.98 million. So our reserve for economic uncertainties is $43.75 million. Let me remind you. And our net ending balance on the unrestricted is $73.53 million. And the restricted, as always, is $90.37 million. The combined is 163.9. Can we go to the next one, please? Okay, so we know I told you that we have $90.37 million on the restricted dollars. That's as an ending fund balance. And here is where we have it. As you can see in ELOP, we have very close to $40 million. And that's because they fund us since 21, 22, $11 million, then $22 million. And now every year they're funding $22 million. And so you go down the list and you see that they all add up to the $90.37 million. Next slide, please. Questions?
Yeah, Maria,
Sure.
very good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A lot of information, a lot of first of all, I want to say in the supplies and services category, I've talked to Mr. Adriana at Paiute and Mr. Lewis at Amargosa,
Okay.
and the new director of music at Jack Northrop. And I'm hoping that the 93 purchase orders were for musical instruments,
We do. Indeed. Indeed. Yes.
because they have large bands at all three are two of the schools. Jack Northrop's new, but they have kids waiting in line to get instruments.
Yes.
And so the more we can do with the music arts, the better. So thank you for showing that. That's I mean, we could probably spend 10 million.
It is my pleasure to present, and I would like to say something to add something. We have the Arts and Music Grant, which was the one that I showed, and now we have the Prop 28, which is per school site. We have funding for them, so we are very excited for all of the bands and music and everything that we're doing with the arts with our students. The musical instruments take a little longer to because I don't know why they take so long. But we placed the order last year and we're waiting for all the deliveries this year. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
Is there any sunset for that or?
Yes, and I'm gonna go over with you on the budget. At the beginning, they gave us the LOP and they gave us 1 year and then they're gonna give you another year. The second year, which it was last year, they said, okay, so everything is sunsetting. 21 and 22 and 22, 23 is sunsetting in June 30th. They were gracious enough to give us until September 30th to encumber all the funds. We are not going to be able to encumber all the funds because it was 11 million plus 22. So we're trying to, as much as possible. The 40 million that you see there, we will be able to roll it over. Because I'm going to go over with you what are the news in the budget, and I think the governor realized that it was too much money and there's so much to do for our children. So he's excited about all the programs that we're implementing. We are one of the biggest school districts with ELOP. I want to actually give kudos to our director, Yuri. She's fantastic, and every time she calls me and she says, Maria, what about this? Yes, do it. So we're working very, very close, making sure that we comply with the allowable expenditures and we liquidate as much as possible. Any other question about the unaudited actuals? I'm going to present a little bit of the budget. Thank you. Can we pass the next slide, please? And the next one. So now I'm presenting the 24-25 budget update. So the budget, good news. So ELOP now is giving us 2 fiscal years to liquidate. So everything that we receive 23, 24, we don't have to liquidate until 25, 26. Now also, starting as of July 1st, 2025, we will be able to utilize some of the ELOP funds for attendance recovery. So that's a great news. And then also the reserve cap, it's raised in peace. They started doing the reserve cap of 10%. I don't know if you guys remember, on July 1st, 2022. And now we don't have that. It's not a requirement anymore for the state to have 10% as much as the reserve. So the cap is gone. And I will go over with you why the cap is gone. There you go. Okay, the reporting extensions. They give us extensions on most of the grants. Most of them are liquidated by our district. We did a very good job in liquidating our funds. So this, actually, I just wanted to disclose that to you, but it doesn't apply to us. Next slide, please. Okay, this is my favorite for the budget. So we learned that we have budget deferrals, and we had budget deferrals in June 2024, meaning that we will not receive the budget until 2025. Budget deferrals are only on paper, but we have cash deferrals. Cash deferrals this fiscal year. We are going to have a deferral in June 2025. We will not receive our income until July 2025, not until next fiscal year. But we have our reserve. Remember, we did assignments. Remember, we did assignments for salaries and benefits. Remember, we did all these beautiful assignments for everything that we thought that it could happen. Well, that's our reserve. So we're well prepared. We're one of the districts that are most prepared. So congratulations to the board because they approved all the assignments. Thank you. Now, why they moved the cap is because now all the assignments are going to be followed through. So if you assign dollars for salaries and benefits, you're going to use those dollars for that. All right, let me go to the next one. Can we pass the next one, please? Okay. So now the multi-year projection. When I built the budget, I presented the proposed budget before the governor's budget was approved and enacted, I forecast that our beginning balance for 24-25 was going to be 150.75. As I went over with you on the right-hand side, now that's the adopted. On the right-hand side, you see the beginning fund balance is 163.88 because we have some surplus, remember? So it's not 150, it's 163. So if you apply, it's the same numbers that I presented on the proposed. Now on the adopted, our reserve on the third year out after all the assignments, sorry, is that because of the closed caption, I can't read it from the screen. I think it's 6.6, yeah, from 6.07 that it was on the proposed, and now it's 6.60. So we're very well prepared for these times. We are fiscally solvent, and I'm happy to present that to you today. Can we pass the next, please? Okay, so all the information that I show you, it was obtained from CASBO, California Association of School Business Officials, from SSCA, School Services of California, from CDE, California Department of Education, and from LSD, Lancaster School District General Ledger. Next slide, please. Do you have any questions?
Is there any forecast for next year's budget?
Not yet, but I can tell you if there's a deferral this fiscal year, that means the next fiscal year we will most likely have a deferral as well. Yes. But we do have the assignments, so we will unassign as we need the money. And I will bring that to your attention. And it takes a board item. It takes a board action to unassign and use the funds. Yes.
Will there be any further money coming from the arts, music, instructional block grant?
We're not anticipating to receive any more, but we're always looking for grants. And we're applying for grants, and our administrators are being trained on how to apply for grants, and we speak in cabinet, and we try to coach them fiscally so we can apply for as many grants as we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So one of the things that I'd like to emphasize about one of the requirements of AB 1200 in terms of the multi-year budget, each year Ms. Alaturri has to demonstrate to the county cash flow analysis showing month by month for the current plus 2 years that we have sufficient cash on hand to meet all of our primarily payroll obligations because we're very heavy into payroll. That's why what she talked about with the cash deferral, in some districts, they panic because they see that they're going to take 1 month of cash and they're not going to give it to you that month. They're going to wait and give it to you the next month. So districts that are really close to the edge, they see that cash deferral and they go, oh my God, what are we going to do? Stop spending. Build your cash reserves. There's an old saying in CBO school, and that's cash is king. In this case, she's the king of the world because we have so much cash on hand to make it through that. We say cash deferral, we got it, it's covered. And so that's part of the efforts that Isabel goes through to make sure that we're fiscally solvent. And so this cash deferral is just kind of a blip on the radar for us, where other districts may be in either primarily they'll just stop spending to try to squirrel away the cash. So it is a very important feature when a state is in a little bit of a fiscal crisis, but we will weather it easily.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
None at this time. You did a great job.
Thank you.
So we will move on then to child nutrition services presentation from Ms. Candelaria.
Ms. Candelaria brought today with her part of her cheerleading crew. That's going to give her backup in case things get nasty. So Debbie, take it away. We look forward to what you have to say today.
My name is Debbie Candelaria, and I'm the Director of Child Nutrition, and I brought with me my supervisors, Courtney Henson Russell and Christine Heinrich. I just wanted to share with you a little snapshot of our department, a little bit about food entitlement, how PINCO fits into what we do, and our vision moving forward. There are 160 employees in our department that work so hard every day. Last year, we served 1.3 million breakfasts, 1.5 million lunches, and a total of 325,000 supper and snacks. These meals brought in just over $13.6 million of state and federal reimbursements. These reimbursements are based on each meal that we serve, whether it's breakfast, lunch, supper, or snack. We serve right at 57% of our student population. As you can see, we have room for growth. The number of students we serve is impacted by several things. What we serve, what meal options we have, its presentation, what it looks like. It's also affected by the logistics of how we serve. The number of service lines that we have, especially in the middle schools, and even what our serving areas look like. State and federal regulations dictate what we can serve. We have specific guidelines that we have to follow to meet nutritional standards. Some examples that we're required to serve are whole grain products. Our juice is 100% fruit juice with no sugar added, and milk must be offered at every meal. You can also see from this slide that serving sizes are highly regulated with every item that we serve. We even have regulations on what kind of vegetables that have to be offered. You can see that they're divided into categories. Red orange vegetables are things like tomatoes and carrots. Examples of dark green vegetables would be broccoli, spinach, romaine. We even have to serve beans every week. When it comes to vegetables, basically, variety is the key. We even have limitations on sodium. Sodium cannot exceed 1,225 milligrams over the course of the whole week. That equates to about 245 milligrams a day. If you were to go to a fast food restaurant, most any fast food restaurant, and order a cheeseburger and french fries, in that one meal alone, you would be consuming 1,200 to 2,000 milligrams of sodium just in that one meal. And we cannot exceed 1,225 over the whole week. I think it goes without saying that we have challenges when it comes to meal compliance. Let's talk about commodities and entitlement and how they tie into our meals. We receive entitlement funding from the USDA. This is funding that allows us to purchase available commodities. Commodities are things like fish, poultry, various meats, peanut butter, cheese and yogurt, fruits and vegetables, grains, pasta, rice, and even cooking oil. Entitlement is determined from the number of lunches that were served the previous year. Our entitlement last year was just under $600,000. We use this entitlement funding to purchase commodities. Commodities provide a substantial savings. It is not uncommon for a product that doesn't use commodities to cost 40% more than the same product using commodities. Before we discuss various ways of using commodities, let me share with you a little bit about PENCO. We belong to a co-op called PENCO, which stands for Partners in Nutrition Cooperative. PENCO is a self-managed JPA and cooperative that acts as a USDA receiving agency. There are fees associated with PENCO. Currently, 27 school districts make up the JPA, and administrative costs are fair shared out to each district. Our administrative costs are 10.99% of the co-op, and last year we paid $155,000 in administrative costs. We are the second largest school district in PENCO. PENCO manages the entitlement and commodities for all its member districts. The districts get together and decide how to spend the entitlement and what USDA foods to purchase. Each member district receives one voting right in that process. Currently, PENCO facilitates the purchasing of commodities. Each year, USDA releases a list of foods that are available to purchase. Districts can have commodities directly shipped in raw or cooked forms, and they can be served as is or incorporated into a recipe, also known as scratch cooking. Commodities can also be sent for further processing. They can be sent to an approved vendor to make ready-to-use products such as pizza, burritos, and even fruit cups. Currently, PENCO members collectively decide what commodities to have directly shipped into the warehouse and what commodities to send to vendors for further processing. Essentially, the PENCO membership as a whole decides what happens with our entitlement funds. PENCO isn't the only entity that can manage commodities and entitlement. If we had local control of our entitlement spending, we could better support the needs of our district by creating menus based on our student preferences. While processed, ready-to-use product certainly has a place, it shouldn't be the driving force of our menu. Procuring whole or minimally processed foods would support scratch cooking. We can also have options of choosing a better quality meat. An example might be to put our commodity towards whole muscle chicken instead of dark and white pressed meat to make a chicken patty. These kinds of changes would help support our desire to serve a better overall meal and increase participation at the middle schools. We've also contracted with Brigade to hire 2 chefs. that can help implement innovative ideas and new recipes. Currently, Penco acts as our distribution center. We can have local control of our entitlement spending by joining the state co-op and distribution center. The USDA foods can be held at the distribution center for extended storage, or they can be delivered to our warehouse. As we discussed previously, the USDA foods can be received as is, or they can be diverted to a vendor for further processing. Further processed items would be brought into our warehouse through our broadline distributor, which is currently Cisco. There are no annual membership fees associated with the state co-op. However, there are per case fees for storage and delivery through the distribution center and per case delivery fees through Cisco. If you recall, last year, our administrative costs through Penco were $155,000. A considerable amount of these costs are projected to be absorbed through the distribution center and Cisco for the per case count fees. Rather than paying high administrative and overhead costs with Penco, the excess savings could go back into building our program. We understand the role we play in supporting the district's strategic plan. We help support the whole child and promote learning through nutritious meals. We strive to eliminate barriers by providing access to free meals. Our goal is to gain local control of our entitlement and commodities so that all students want to take advantage of the meals that we serve. Being independent can save money, increase participation, and provide a better quality that more students will enjoy. Our intention is to bring forward a resolution at the next board meeting to withdraw from the Penco JPA to better serve our students. The JPA states that notices of withdrawal must be board approved and submitted no later than the first day of October. We would remain in Penco throughout the 24-25 school year. Are there any questions?
Well, back to the slide that you presented in reference to the breakfast allotments each day. So basically, you're saying that our students have an opportunity to have each of these items, like when we're doing like the breakfast in the classroom. So for breakfast, they're going to get each one of these items.
Yes, we are required to offer 2 grains, 1 cup of fruit, and an 8-ounce milk for breakfast. So we have to meet the grain component before we meet a meat component, but we can offer a meat with a grain, and with the fruit, we can offer fruit juice and fruit to make up the whole cup. But yes, that is a sample of what we have to offer for each breakfast.
Okay, so as far as how things are, because I've stopped by a couple of different campuses, and I'm always inquiring with the teachers, how the program is working for them, how the students like the program, and things like that. And some of the feedback I've gotten lately was about there not always being enough for the students to have. And so that's why I was curious when you were saying that each of these items are offered. Then when it's coming into the classrooms, do the students not have an opportunity? Do they not all have, like, say, if you have, I don't know, milk, do you provide milk for each one of the students that are in that class? Or is there only a certain amount that's given to the class if they have toast or, are there enough for each student that is attending that particular class?
I
Do you
understand.
have that choice?
I understand what you're asking.
Okay.
Yes, so we started out when we started serving breakfast in the classroom that if there were 30 students in the class, we would send 30 of every single thing. We would get back what they didn't eat. And so instead of waste, we try and see what classes are sending back certain things. And so we would cut back a little bit on some of the things offered. So from our experience, students like the juice and they like the fruit, and half of them like the milk, and they'll eat. It depends on what the main dish is. So we are trying to cut back where we think that we can cut back so that there's not so much waste involved. And if they don't have enough, then we're happy to bring the class more as we learn how many servings to send. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that was my question, because that was something, that was my answer. I was like, okay, well, if you didn't get enough,
Yep.
isn't
Yes.
there someone you can call and know? Like there was no more available, so I'm just
Yes, there would be
curious.
more, and we are happy to bring it to their class if they need to.
Okay. Other than that, I think I like it. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to be, because I think if we have more control of the food that's going to our students, then maybe they'll like it a little bit more.
I agree. Any other questions?
Yeah, Debbie, will this give the schools, the cafeterias, more opportunity to make hot meals? But if we went through Cisco or one of the other suppliers,
Are you referring to breakfast or lunch?
either one?
So we serve hot meals just about every day at lunch. And we serve a hot breakfast probably a couple of times a week at breakfast time.
Okay. I guess what I'm looking for, I know that I used to go to the PINCO thing at the fairground,
The food show.
the food show, and they bring in students from all the various districts that PINCO supported to make choices of what they liked. I don't think they did the last year, did they?
We did do it last year, and we actually brought some students from our middle schools to the Pinto Food Show in last. I'm thinking that the food show was in February.
Okay.
Yeah, and we did.
Yeah, I wasn't available. But I understand. Yeah, it's a good thing because it's good to watch the students go booth to booth and say, oh, I really like that, or
Yes, and we've also done taste testings at the school site. So we've brought in new product, and Courtney and Christine have gone around at lunchtime at a site, and we will taste test certain items, and the kids can vote on if they liked it, if they didn't like it. So we've done that.
we have a salad bar at every.
We do not have a salad. We have salad bars, and we piloted it just at the one school site, which is Endeavor, and we have the salad bars ready to go at the other middle schools, and we're going to incorporate them this year. The Chef Brigade is going to help us roll those out.
The only thing I can remember about Cisco was when I was working in a restaurant that they deliver each and every, well, when you need it, of course, but they don't like it if you don't order a certain amount of funding.
Yeah,
They like you to order big orders.
Right. Cisco's our broadline bid, and we bring in a lot of product through Cisco every week.
And I know we have a nice big freezer area.
We do.
Thank you, Larry.
Well, and Mr. Nguyen, I was just going to mention that exactly. One of the advantages that we have is that very large freezer where other districts that don't have a freezer like that, they have to rely upon PINCO to store their frozen goods. We don't have to do that. We can take them directly through companies like Cisco, store them ourselves, and distribute ourselves. So that's a unique advantage that we have having that large freezer.
Let me ask you this then. PINCO, Cisco,
Cisco. Cisco and the state co-op.
is that
Mhm.
would be your recommendation?
That would be my recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah, when Debbie first came on, one of the things I was amazed was her vision for what she saw as meal service to our students. And it collided, I think, with some of the underlying principles of PINCO. The fact that, we're a good-sized district in PINCO, but we only get one vote. We can get outvoted by smaller districts that maybe want to go an easier route, that want to have more packaged food. She doesn't want packaged food. She wants scratch cooking, which is better for kids. The kids like it more, and if they like it and it's better for them, they'll eat it more, which means that's more reimbursable meals. And so it's this cycle, this upward cycle of feeding more kids, getting more reimbursements, which allows us to expand more offerings like through Chef Brigade. And PINCO just kind of relegates us to what they want to offer through that vote. This breaks us free of the vote. Now all of the decisions are in our hands, exactly what we want to do. And that's the vision that Debbie and her team have, is to re-empower the district leadership for CNS, but also site through Chef Brigade to produce top quality meals for students that they'll really enjoy. And so I'm excited about this.
I was just curious, what's the biggest school in PINCO? Our school district?
Bakersfield City,
Field? Oh,
yes.
sounds like a good plan, and I'm looking forward. More flexibility and more local control.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Well, we'll move on to number 12, the approval of a provisional internship permit for 2024-25 school year for Ramon Duran and Barla Ramas. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Motion by Ms. Starlson, second by Mr. TP. And good, yeah. I'll ask for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Vote passes 3-0. Addressing the board. Individuals who wish to address the board may complete a speaker card and present it and any supporting documents to the superintendent's assistant or other district official prior to the start of this meeting. Personal information such as student, parent, guardian's name, address, phone number, date of birth, email address, or other directory information as defined in Ed Code 49061 may be excluded from the minutes of the meeting by submitting a request to the superintendent. Dr. Marietti will recognize individuals who wish to speak. Individuals wishing to present testimony to the board concerning specific items on the agenda may do so once that item has been moved, seconded, and is on the floor for discussion. Time limits of 3 minutes per person, 20 minutes per item shall be allowed. Board members may ask questions for clarification purposes. However, no action may be taken and no discussion may take place on an item not on the posted agenda. That's per the Brown Act. I'll ask for comments from PTA. Seeing none. CSEA. Seeing none. TAL. Seeing none. Comments from the audience.
I see none.
Guess that means no comment. Thank you. Then we'll move on to number 14. I'll ask for a motion for the consent agenda item 14A to 14K. So moved by Mr. TP, second by Ms. Starlson. Are there any comments? Okay, these are all of the board policies that we've seen over the last 2-3 meetings will now be adopted, along with Patriots Day, Constitution Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, and My favorite of all are the acceptance of donation of backpacks from KB Homes to the Welcome and Wellness Center. Thank you very much. I'm sure Sam has loved all of the backpacks we get, and everyone there, and we appreciate it, believe me. With that, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Consent agenda item 15, business 15A through 15K. Can I get a motion?
Motion?
Mr. Arnoldson, second by Mr. TP. And are there any questions? Glad to see the completions, Larry, on the Parkview, Mariposa, and Joshua. Is that almost closed Joshua out?
Next board meeting, we have a tremendous number of notice of completions. Joshua will be one of them.
Outstanding. I don't see any, Greg, Emma, anything? Then I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Vote passes. On to number 16, consent agenda items for the educational services, 16A through 16R. Have a motion? Motion by Mr. Elson. Any questions or comments? An audience, if you want to throw some in there, you can too. I had one question, O and P. We have two mariachi.
Yeah, so one of the mariachis are going to focus on voice and violin, and the other is going to focus on teaching trumpet and the big guitarron. Well, the big old guitar.
Okay. Just seemed odd that we had two,
Yes.
I guess it's two separate groups. And Joy Inc. Is that
One of our mentoring programs that's at El Dorado. You've probably seen them over there in the classroom. They work with the students, giving them support in the class, encouragement, work they're doing.
That's part of our equity multiplier money that we received.
you know what? I'm all for us doing all we can. I hope we're not overburdening the teachers with all the PDs that are going into every school.
This isn't professional development. These are actually people who come in and
Oh,
work
some of these
alongside the
are,
kids.
Some of these are professional development.
Yeah, like the two teachers.
And it just makes me wonder, are we burdening the teachers with after school or other times that take away from their teaching?
We do give them opportunities for choice, and we put a lot of these in our LLI program, which is off after school. So we also survey them for best times and reactions to the training, value added to them. And we've had a lot of positive, especially with the one I mentioned earlier. It was about Jen's fault.
And just so you know, as Pamela know, the item R was a ratification
We do pride ourselves on not having a ratification. This is probably the only second one I've had in the 7 years I've been here. Our higher ed services really works diligently, but we, like you talking about professional development, we probably offer around 85% of the professional developments that go on in the school district. And so have something slip by once in a while. We are a human business and it does occur. We apologize.
All right, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Vote passes. Item 17. Consent agenda items on human resource services, 17A through 17D. Motion? Moved by Mr. Petrie. Second by Ms. Charleston. Are there any questions or comments?
I have a question about the teacher evaluation process, the memorandum of understanding.
That was in April 2024, the CDE changed the CSTPs for the state. So we had to get an MOU because it's part of the contract. The old ones were not applicable anymore. So we will switch it out during negotiations.
So it's just to update it to make it current with what the state.
Yeah, we'll follow the law.
All right, and for the Colemans, Todd, Charles, thank you very much for your hard work and effort on getting the people we need. This district is probably in the best shape of any district in the Antelope Valley, and probably for 50 or more percent of the state, with teachers and administrators, paras, student aides. We are fantastic, in good shape. Thank you, Mike, for putting them to work and letting them do it. All right, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Vote passed 3-0. Agenda items, student and family services, 18A through 18H. Have a motion?
Motion.
By Mr. Agree. Again, are there any comments or questions? I have to ask about the schoolyard. Who would I talk to about that?
I had a question too about the.
Erie, come on down.
Oh, yeah, Erie, come on down.
I had a question about the Rainbow Chefs Academy.
So 2 questions.
So Schoolyard Wrap is a company that we are going to bring into our sites during our Saturday schools and our intercessions, and they do cultural shows. So they'll come in, and we're starting off with Black History Month, and we're going on to, they'll come in and do multicultural shows and assemblies. So they'll come in on our Saturdays, and they'll be at both sites. And then one day we're actually going to bring them to, in February, we're going to bring them to Parkview to start off our Black History Month. So we're very excited.
Okay, I just have one question.
Yeah.
Why didn't they come here to the board meeting and show us their stuff?
Because they're based out of Sacramento. So so when they come down for the full day. So we will have the full day for our Saturday schools and intercessions. And then Rainbow Chef is a new enrichment that we are bringing into the district. So what they do is they support cooking classes. Cooking classes are high the students love them, but we have to really kind of support the cooking classes to make sure that everything is following guidelines. So this program comes in and supports the cooking with the menus, with the food ordering, and it comes to us. And they do the training too. We have our own certification process where the teachers who are doing cooking classes will get certified for food handling. They get like a certificate for it, but they also do that, and then they roll out the lesson. So I'm really excited about the turnkey nature of it, and we have multiple sites interested in it, and we're doing it as a club for our first rollout to see how we like it.
We're not gonna lose any teachers to Debbie, are we?
No. So no, I don't think so. But we're really excited about it, and Sierra has going like 3 or 4 classes just on Sierra's site to do the cooking.
Any other questions? All right, with that, open vote, all in favor, say aye. Passes 3-0. Well, we're back to legislative and policy discussions for first readings of about 5 or 6 items. That means that we have 2 more times before they become effective. I would like you to take a look at the athletic team coaches and our parent guardian notifications. Those are important new changes that will affect some of the information that we now provide. Personal leave, personal illness, injury, and leave are a couple of items that we should review as far as our administrative regulations. And again, those will be brought back forward for the next 2 meetings. So you know. With that, we'll go to comments from the board. Start with Mr. Teepee.
Okay, great. First off, it was neat to see the ACES Awards, and thank you to all those individuals who helped out with the textbook distribution. I know that's a huge thing over the summer, and the teachers really appreciate it when they can show up and everything's ready for them. Everything's ready to go. So thank you so much for all the extra work that went into that. Also, as far as the budget update, fantastic. It was really easy to understand. And thank you for all the exciting things that we're helping bring programs into our district. And that was great to hear. And also that reserve and that we've been very conservative with our spending. It's helping us kind of get through that difficult time coming up in June and July. So that's exciting as well. My question with the ELOP is that they can do attendance recovery with that. So I would like to look into see if we could use that for some kind of Saturday school or attendance recovery. I've heard some districts, if a student misses a day that week, then they give an opportunity to make it up on Saturday. So that might be something we can look into to use that funding for to help recoup some more attendance dollars. And then also a great presentation with nutrition services, and looking forward to all the different exciting things we can do to bring in with that. And also really excited about the Patriots Day, Constitution Month, and Hispanic Heritage Month coming up. Great job also with the extra programs, cooking and rapping. So glad we're bringing in all those exciting programs for the kids. And that's everything I had.
Thank you, Greg. Mr. Olson?
Congratulations to all of our ACE Award winners, our recipients. You know, as I always say, you know, teamwork makes the dream work, and everything that you do is valuable to the district as well as the students. As far as our budget, oh, Maria, I tip my hat to you. The work that you put in to keep us ahead of the game, it's nothing short of amazing. I love your excitement, your dedication to the district and keeping us balanced. And, once you actually take the time, anyone takes the time to go back and read through the budget, you'll see just how important that your job really, really is. So thank you again for a wonderful report. And thank you for making it very easy to understand and to read and for coming here to explain and answer any questions that we have as well. As far as Miss Debbie, I know that it's difficult to get up at that podium and speak in front of us. So thank you for coming out and basically, explaining your vision to us. Um, the school nutrition is something that's really close and dear to me as far as making sure not only that we're providing the meals that we need for each student, but that they like them, and getting back that feedback and that they're healthy. Because a lot of times I know there's guidelines that have to be met, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not too much sugar, and so I really look forward to your scratch cooking. I think that it's going to be a lot, you know, um, but it's also going to be well received, so I look forward to seeing what comes with those changes. So thank you. I had an opportunity to go to Endeavor. No, I'm sorry, not Endeavor, Paiute. It was Paiute's pep rally. So I had the opportunity to get there and get beaten by just sixth graders on tug of war. They did cheat though. We only had like about 10 staff and they had like 30 kids. So it really wasn't fair, but had a really, really good time with Joseph over there and his staff. And I spent a few hours just walking around the campus and talking to the students and doing things like that. So it was really, really nice. I also went to New Vista back to school night. Um, and just hearing, I really focused on getting out there in the boondocks to the sixth grade area out there and just the excitement from the teachers. And, this non cell phone thing is really good. Just I spoke with the second year teacher and he's just like, the kids look at me and it's the first time I look up and I feel like they're just focused and they're listening, they're paying attention. So I know it's been a struggle, but I think it's going to be just a wonderful thing that we're continuing. So I had a really good time doing that, and I also got out to Discovery's back to school night, and Elizabeth had a really good turnout over there as well. So other than that, I think we have another food distribution coming up soon. So everyone pass the word out and get out there. If you haven't had opportunity and you get a free hour, come out and volunteer and just see what's going on there and pass that word on. And thank you, Sam, as always.
Thank you, Pamela. I know you've been to the schools. I saw you there. Dr. Marietti.
I just want to acknowledge our ACES Award winners tonight, all the great work. They represent all of our employees and the great work they do for our students. I want to acknowledge our staff and, of course, the business department, everyone in the business department that I have the opportunity to work next door to. I get to see them. They put in long, hard hours on that budget, so I just want to commend them for hard work. And child nutrition services, it's nice that our departments, they're striving to do better. We don't sit back and maintain what we do. We are always striving to improve, and we're always striving to get better and to do better for our children. So I commend them for the work they do. And the back to school nights went well. Labor Day is over. We're all buckled in and ready to go. So we got a long haul to Thanksgiving. So we're already fired up and have a lot of energy and excited about the school year to come.
Thank you. And I'll just throw in also the food giveaways. I was so surprised. I hadn't been to one in about 4 months. I went to the one not last Friday, but the Friday before. And it's being held right here, right outside the boardroom. And just about. And the line to get to this place right out here where they pass the food out started at the stoplight down here and went all the way down across and back down. And according to Pamela, this starts at 7 o'clock in the morning. The line does. The food giveaway doesn't start till what time? 9:30. But the line to get the food starts at 7 a.m. So I gotta hand it to the people that are out there doing this giveaway. It was hot. It was not too windy, but at least hot. And this weekend will probably be hotter. So if you do get a chance, come and just take a look at the way the people like Pamela, she's out there giving the food away. See how they are moving. There's it's their stride is amazing. They just keep going from boom back and forth and back and forth. So thank you very much for your time and effort. To all of you. I saw Sam out there. You know, it's just amazing. Just amazing. Leah, thank you very much for your presentation. Keep us healthy. I'm glad to see that you have people looking for grants. I look for grants too, not for the school district, but for robotics, for the high school robotics teams. So I'm looking for grants too. So if you run across something like that, give me a call. No, I'm kidding. And thank you for the ACES awards for Krista. Thank you. Cindy, thank you. George, thank you. And Miss Aguilar, the parent, who's not here, but thank her for recognizing your employees. That's very, very kind. And you know we all want to be kind. With that, I will ask for adjournment motion by Mr. Teepee, second by Ms. Starlsman. Time is 7:23. All in favor?
Hi,
Aye.
welcome back, Larry.
Vote passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Missed you.
0. 3-0. Thank you very much.